Hey, good morning. This is James with the Red Ink Black Coffee podcast for Wednesday. What is it going to be? April 30th. I am out here. Well, first of all, I am a graphic designer available to help you promote your business and events. But in the meantime, we gather here to talk about life, mistakes, specifically mine. I'm out here in front of the gym. You're getting an early morning podcast, which means it might be short, but I'm going to try and get a second session in, so we'll see. Always been thinking. That's really all this podcast is me thinking. The question is, how do you address failure? And apparently I start a podcast. It feels good though. It feels right. I started it because I wanted to work on editing. If you look on my channel, you can probably see that I have some Dungeons and Dragons content, which is where I started editing audio, seriously. And it's good. I really like the process and all that stuff for that. But the problem is, we play 3-hour sessions, and it is 5 players, including the DM. So altogether 15 hours of audio overlaid. That's a lot of work. I really like how it transforms from like table talk to something that you can follow. Most of the time we don't narrate ourselves very well, so it's not like a complete production. It is just table talk, but it's been filtered. But I enjoy the process is what I'm getting at. So that's why I did that, but it was too much for my schedule. It took like 6 hours to get one of those episodes out. So this is a lot easier. I can do this in like 20 minutes maybe. So it's a nice little fix, and it gets all my thoughts out. A second reason I started the podcast was to find voice. I really am not someone who talks a whole lot, even though I stream and I am in customer service. I just generally don't talk a whole lot. I'm a much better listener. So I'm looking for my voice, as in, how do I carry myself when I talk? I tend to like being slow and reserved and calm, but I need to balance that with a little bit of engagement. I'm stuck on all this social media stuff. What do I have? I have Instagram, now Facebook, because I had to make a Facebook because for some reason I wasn't able to get to my Instagram unless it was linked to a Facebook. Some meta back-end BS trying to steal data, I guess, even though they already own it. But maybe not. I heard old Zuckerberg may have to sell some of his companies if some court stuff doesn't go his way. I don't know. I don't think it changes anything. They're still gonna steal your data. But anyways, I had to make a Facebook. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube are my channels, and just trying to manage them all. Luckily, it's only one way, because I stream on YouTube, and I have the Twitter and the Blue Sky to kind of, not really to be serious promotion, but just kind of like put myself out there. I don't think the post's out very much, so that's just kind of like putting feelers out. So these 3 channels lead to my other 2 channels and my website. So my social media is kind of one directional. If you find my business, then you're probably not going to find all my social content. But if you find my social content, you're probably going to find my business. And I kind of like it that way. But just learning all this stuff, man. I've been going through like a crash course of posting schedules and creating content. It is a grind. Like I'm used to the grind. You know, I'm here at the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning. But social media is just a different monster. I don't know, but I'm gonna get it down. I'm gonna learn it. Gonna get good at it at some point. I'm back on Marvel Rivals. Season 2 is out. It's been maybe a week or 2, and I am struggling. There's nothing new there, but I've been doing Luna 1 tricks because healer kind of just helps me take my mind off things. I can just sit back and do my thing, but there's still so many foul-mouthed people when you can like step back. Like I was doing VOD reviews. I did a short little one. You might see on my channel, but you can take a step back and watch a game and just realize like, oh, there's mistakes all over this map in a gold lobby. But some people don't get it. Like there's only one goal in the game. It's push the cart. And a lot of people just don't act on that. So I'll be grinding that out. I made a thumbnail the other day that I was really happy with. I'm going to be using it from now on. Getting good at thumbnails. I'm not happy with my first round, but that's because I rushed them out. What else? Oh, I've been I've been listening to that book, Maps of Architecture by Jordan Peterson, and it is dense. I can't even pretend to be big brain here. I like Jordan Peterson, but I've only ever heard him conversationally on YouTube interviews. And he's really a smart guy and analytical. And in a conversational context, he's quite understandable. But when he writes a book and he has months to just pick the biggest word he can think of, this book is just like sentence after sentence of big words, 3-4 syllable words. So it gets kind of, it's not an easy listen to in the background, as in like while you're working out or doing something strenuous. It is a nice listen though. He goes really deep into analyzing systems, basically. He's saying a lot of big words, but ultimately he's saying nothing that isn't obvious. And that's because he's talking about systems of culture and meaning and how we derive value from things and how it's typically influenced by culture and morality. And so he's kind of going through all these creation stories and explaining why mythos is an example of humans being influenced by value. And nothing is really surprising. It's just like it's interesting to just talk about the base analysis, and to be a really analytical person, you have to be able to break down even the system that you're working in. I also see some parallels in that when people talk about social media and stuff, and you're talking about people's habits and things and how you can create value for them. So it's an interesting take to hear the value in morality is like a subconscious thing. And companies already know that. They already know how to get you. There's also a lot of talk about the creation stories in there. A bunch that I did not know, which is like I've heard of it, and you realize that everything is kind of influenced by creation stories. Even Dungeons and Dragons, I didn't realize that Tiamat was like a Mesopotamian story, but Tiamat is also a character in the Dungeons and Dragons lore. So it's like, yep, people are still appropriating culture. No, it's like these myths have meaning still. There's another concept he was talking about is the dilution to, I guess it would be the opposite of dilution, distilling. I don't know what you would call it. The breakdown of polytheistic cultures to monotheistic, and it tends to be a moral thing of like you start with all these different gods of different aspects, but eventually through story they're incorporated into one god. Like all these attributes are given to one god instead. Over time, you no longer have a god of love and a god of war and a god of what have you. There's just one champion. Eventually, it's not all cultures, but there are a few examples where the church kind of restructured. I don't know. It's all interesting and overall very dense and hard to extract. I'm about halfway through that, so I'll be getting through the third chapter probably this next week, and then I think I'm going to be reading some dark stuff, dark historical stuff. So get ready for that. I got some ideas while reading this book that I need to re-up on my somewhat recent history on things, just the humanities. Thinking specifically about the race riots in Tulsa, which were terrible, but it wasn't that long ago. I have to remind myself that a lot of this stuff wasn't that long ago. When I watch the news today, a lot of this stuff is horrible, and seems like the administration is trying to act so quickly you can't keep up. Every day is something else, which is a strategy. But then you think back on what has previously happened in the world, and it wasn't that long ago. I don't know. I try not to dwell on it, but stay informed. What else? I'm working on gonna work on my bench press today. My brother, he's younger than me, but he has a more active job. He's a welder. His bench press is almost 300 pounds, and he's only been doing it for a couple months. but he's been doing it religiously. I think he trains it like 3 times a week. And otherwise, his squat and his deadlift he's been struggling with. I go for a more like balanced approach where my stamina is really good. When I do squats, I do like 100 squats. And when I do pretty much any other exercise, I'm doing 50 repetitions at least. So I've got really good stamina and good shape, but my lifts aren't very heavy. So I'm just like looking at my brother who's filling out really nicely. He's on his own self-improvement arc, which is nice to see. We spent some time Sunday just working out and chatting. So he's on my mind, but it's just crazy how fast you can get good at something if you just do it. I never really trained for maxes because nobody really cares what a graphic designer can lift. And I don't want to hurt myself. There's really no point for me to try and hurt myself. But I'm just like, dang. I see it with young kids too. Like there's a bunch of young guys who go to this gym. And if they like went as hard on the routine, they could get to whatever number they want to get. And then I see like people who are very untrained kind of wander into the gym. And I'm not here to make fun of anybody, but you gotta have some idea of what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, then study up. That's kind of like what I'm doing with all this marketing and stuff. It's just like gain as much information as you can and just try something. Anyways, what am I talking about? What else has gone on? I've restructured not really restructured, but I've added to my workflow, my behavior. I went back to creating logs of all the orders we do, so I have dates on when to follow up on them. So whenever you fail, find a way to improve it, make sure it doesn't happen again. Is a lesson there. But it's also giving me a little bit of scope. My homework last week was to focus on one thing at a time, which I've been doing, and it does feel like I'm getting things done, although moving slower. But my peace of mind is a little more intact when it comes to projects. The problem I have with this approach is that people tend to demand my time socially, as in my partner, my friends, they'll end up wanting to do something. And so it's hard to schedule projects in blocks whenever people are kind of demanding like that. And I have a hard time saying no to my partner because I do work all day. But overall, that's working well. Another positive on seeing the work log is I can kind of see in the money number the influence I'm having. And it's kind of disappointing. It is positive, and I do pay for myself, which I'm very happy for. But overall, it doesn't pay for like the business. We have a team, we have overhead, we have all this stuff. And so I'm not responsible for paying for anybody as an employee, but I do want to have a positive effect on the business. Just relating it to what I've heard this week from Eric Thomas, you got to give 120%, and you do that so that you can provide for somebody else. And I look at this number and I realize I'm providing for me, but I also have that drive to provide for somebody else in this context, as in I want to be making enough sales to pay for the business. So I'm reconciling that with myself this week now that I can see the number. And the data's not really concrete. It's only been a week or so, but I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Anyways, the gym's opening, so I gotta head out. I will try to get another recording in, so I will see you right now. And we're back. Wow, that was fast. For you, that was a long day for me. Just real humid, so it's like sapping your strength. But feeling good. I got paid. Feels good to get paid. If you can do anything, I don't know. Maybe this isn't everyone, but feels good for me to be doing my freelance and getting paid. And if that sounds stupid, it's a new thing for me, so let me enjoy it. Oh man, just got gifted some Asian food that was really good. Got to work on editing this thing. Might stream a little bit, hoping I have time. I just came from a meeting discussing a card game that I'm not developing per se, but I am facilitating the graphic design so that the project can come to publication. And I'm not under a non-disclosure or anything. I can talk about it, but so far all I've really released is the art that I'm doing. Anyways, We had our meeting. I learned a lot about the game, actually. It's been years and years in development, but it's finally coming to ahead of, not production, but, that first round of playtesting and product design, so that people can actually understand what the thing is. And it's cool to be a part of that, because it's not new to me. It's a card game, and I've designed cards before and had cards printed. I love card games. If you didn't know, I used to run a local hobby store with the person that is currently behind this project. So it's an old team up and a new project, so feels good. Besides that, it was a super, super hectic day because the boss's daughter is getting married this weekend. Congratulations. But he's feeling stressed. He's living in a household with a bunch of women who are planning a wedding. So I do not envy his position. But all the men in the relationships to these women are all very smart, and they're like, I'm not making any decisions. Because I did some printing and stuff for them, and I'm like, hey, does this have to do da-da-da? And they're like, oh, I don't know, that's above my pay grade. It's like, cool. Not that tensions are high, but pressure is on. My boss wanted a backdrop for the photo, not the photos, just the venue, just something to decorate a little bit. And he gave me this like muggy, cloudy day photo of like a Texas field, and there's like patches of mud and stuff, and it's just like, oh, this is not. You could not be telling me to print this. So I went ahead and retouched it for him. Filled in a bunch of those bad areas, but it's just like, you must be losing it. That's the kind of day I'm having. I've been thinking on this proverb, I don't know, scripture. Let no unwholesome words come out your mouth. Shut your mouth. Oh man, the King James version is so King James. It's like prohibit any corrupt communication. The lesson is watch your mouth. And I need to be doing that more, because when things get fast-paced or tough or whatever it is, I get, not moody, but I'm just like, I murmur. I say things to myself. Not hostile things to anybody, but I just tell myself, like, I curse or something. And I'm just trying to stop that. That's what I need to work on. The murmurings to myself, because it is corrupting my mind. Thus saith the Lord. No, seriously, I need to stop. But I don't know. I feel on fire for printing. I feel like I'm on a roll right now, because I'm using all my softwares. I'm working pretty much all day. I have these big projects like sales catalogs and stuff I need to get done, but I am metering myself one project at a time, trying to take care of one thing at a time. Plus I got paid, so feels good. But what do we have this week in terms of regrets? If you guys want to send me your stories, I'm looking for stories of regret and learning, mistakes, tough times, anything that might be of value, be of wisdom to someone else. That was another thing in the Jordan Peterson book. There's a lot of the folklore, the mythos involving the young hero or the aspiring hero, and how he has to claim wisdom. And we went through all the symbologies of, like, the old king is traditional wisdom, left unchecked is tyranny, da-da-da-da-da. There's always a way for the hero to improve himself with the use of wisdom past, is the gist of it, the trend in the stories. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. And even today, I caught up with a friend today, and she was saying that she's not beating herself up so much lately. She's coming around, and I am happy to hear that. I want people to come around and stop beating themselves up, to look at failure as a tool to get things done, even if it doesn't feel like you're getting things done. Just do the right thing over and over, and you'll get something done. Anyways, you can send me your stories at redink@redandblackdesign.com. It's in the description. The only thing I have this week for regrets, the only thing I've come into encounter, maybe Trump is regretting. It seems like he's fighting everybody right now. They just announced something about Amazon is going to include the tariff costs when you make a purchase, and Trump is mad about it. It's like as if any educated shopper would not notice the difference in cost. The suspicious increase in cost here. Like I haven't read the story, but it's just like we know. It's not Bezos' fault. We know. There's a truck coming out with Bezos behind it. Apparently is one of his employees is in charge of this project. The Slate truck seemed pretty interesting. A cheap $20,000. They say $20,000, but it's not due for release for 2 years, a year and a half. So who knows what it's going to be once it's on the market. But supposedly a cheap EV with very minimalist features, which I am all about. Except they don't have powered windows, which it's fine. It's not a deal breaker, but I don't know why do we not have powered windows? Did we have to take everything out? I guess that's how you make a statement. It's fine. I would buy it or be interested in it if it had further range. I do a lot of driving, and the range is like 240 miles or something, which is about as far as I go before I fill up anyway. But I just like to have the cushion of double. That's going to be like, I always fill up at half, and if I'm filling up at half, then that's like every 2 days maybe. I got to fill up on the juice. But yeah, I'll be watching that. Yeah, the only encounter I had with regrets really is my pastor. My pastor is having his birthday, or he had his birthday, and the video team kind of went through old stuff and collected old footage, and he's been in the game for 30 years, so they brought back the original sermons he was giving, and it was the young version of him at 23 years old, and he was confessing that he had problems and addictions and corruption. It was all this stuff. He wasn't getting into the specifics and stuff, but he was admitting that he had a problem or had problems, and it was destroying his life, his relationships. So I really appreciated seeing that. And I know it's kind of his position as an elder or leader to do that kind of thing. But I gotta appreciate it when I see it, because he's come a long way, and I think a lot of people can do the same. I think the important part of that kind of transformation is a support system. You have to have somebody watching your back or keeping you accountable. It's not going to work if you don't have that little reason why. But I don't know too much about the breaking free from addiction, the methodology of that in writing. But I know that I've seen people do really well if they have a sponsor, if they have somebody watching their back. Relationships are important, so this is your reminder to check in on that person you haven't checked in on in a second. Not that they might need help or anything, but it's been a minute. What are they up to? That's how it feels working with my old partner on this thing. Finally got to check in. His whole life has changed from what I knew, but maybe that's for the best. Not sure if I'll keep this in, but I did see that Reddit has a lot of these discussions. Yeah, I don't really want to be a Reddit reaction podcast, but I do kind of want to flip through and see what people are regretting in life So I'm on the Ask Old People Reddit, because who would know better? The post is, what's your biggest regret in life? That when I was a 21 male, I did not have the guts to tell my BFF 19 male I was in love with him. Man, that's deep. I have this weird relationship with romance. I was very self-defeating as a young person, but I tended to express my affections pretty clearly and probably too strongly. I was that guy, that hopeless romantic. I don't know. I tell my family I love them all the time. I tell my partner that. I would tell my friends that, but they're kind of immature, I think. They don't really say that to each other. But I do love them. I think there's not any time to waste, because you don't know what's going to happen today. I leave the house and I'm like, well, this could be it. Somebody could run me down. So, like, confessional regrets, there's got to be something that I haven't confessed. I don't know. As far as love goes, I think I pretty much told everybody romantically that I love them, that I wanted to tell. It didn't always work out, but I'm glad I said it. Let's see. Pong Pian Skull, what a name, says, I regret things I did out of greed, fear, and ignorance that were harmful and caused pain. Fair. You could be a little more specific, but you don't have to be. What we do out of greed, fear, and ignorance. Sounds like a young guy, I think, that were harmful and caused pain. This is very specific. Like, he has something in mind, but I think the context makes the crime. But out of that sentence, I think ignorance might be the root cause. I regret the things I did out of greed, fear, and ignorance. Greed and fear come from being unwise. If you're greedy, it's because you are not seeing the source of good. Like I just got paid. That was great. I want to do it again. But the source of good would be my friend who is trying to take care of me, who I am enriching with. We're enriching each other. There's a relationship there. If you want to go further, then it would be God acting through people. There's a source you can follow. So greed and fear kind of root from ignorance, I would say. If you would train yourself and educate yourself, you might see those problems go away. Editor Girl says, I wish I'd taken better care of my teeth, hearing, and joints. Yeah, fair. I'm so lucky that I haven't hurt myself with weightlifting. I took it slow, and I feel like I'm a little behind for a 30-year-old guy, but I'm glad I don't hurt. I have a little bit of a twinge in my back because I squatted too heavy once, but I stretch it out and it's fine. But I have friends that are like, oh, I have torn meniscus and torn rotator cuff and like actual serious injuries, sciatica. And it's like, oh, I'm glad I avoided that. My teeth aren't great though. I have cavities, but I had them filled. Quite a few, history of cavities, because I loved energy drinks and sour gummy worms. Those are my afflictions. Ruined my teeth. But yeah, take care of your teeth. That one's easy. That one's just a discipline. Sergeant Sausage, let's go. It says, not getting healthy sooner. At the young age of 42, I lost 68 pounds, started running marathons, radically changed my diet for the better, quit a high-stress job, started sleeping right, quit caffeine, still do decaf though, laid off the sodas, pops, whatever, quit dumping table salt on every plate of food, started growing most of my own food, and quit smoking. This guy got his whole life together at 42. I mean, better late than never, Sergeant Sausage. Some people don't figure it out into their old, what do you call, there's a phrase for that, the retirement ages. Currently 53 and wondering why I waited so long to start feeling good again. I mean, it's not natural for everyone. It always felt like a natural thing. No, not always. I was very thin in high school, but like soon after exiting high school, I started doing the workout stuff. And here we rarely eat out. I don't like to eat out. The state of fast food right now is atrocious. It's not food. It costs too much, and they ruin it every time anyway. Why am I going to pay too much money for some very nice employee to burn my food? I don't know. I only, if we're going to eat out, I only go to sit down restaurants, preferably nice ones. I'm not going to stand for somebody serving me burnt food. But also, I don't even know what meat, what's in the meat. But yeah, this guy, something triggered in this guy. He got the bug, and he started making changes. He started flipping all the switches. It is kind of addictive. Like, once you get one thing going, I don't know what the easiest part on this list would have been. He started with lost 70 pounds, and started running marathons. That seems pretty easy to me, compared to like the job. You don't always have a choice, supposedly, seemingly. Sleeping right, you could do that pretty easily. Quitting caffeine and stuff. My mom struggles with the sodas, so it depends on the person. These could all be very challenging in their own ways, but I think if you start locking in and getting one thing done, it just snowballs and becomes so much easier to get the other things done. For me, it's that way. I started working out, and it's like working out is not enough. I gotta wake up at 4 a.m, get my workout done, and there's a whole, whatever else, how many hours are left in the day for me to get stuff done, for me to make good choices. Like recording a podcast. Okay. I think that's going to be it for now, though. That was a good little bit. I don't want to sit here forever. I got to edit this thing down. So that's me for this week. I hope you all have a good one. Stay blessed. Take care. And I will see you next Wednesday.